That's why I say you gotta have 2 of these. You need 2 pairs of pliers. You could use adjustable wrenches. I prefer these little blue channel locks. Alright, so you see how I'm loosening up these washers. Yeah, my hands are going to be black. When you guys make yours, you'll have the advantage of having all nice, clean, threaded rod. But, I mean, you should be able to see what I'm doing here. Alright? So you got the piece of copper that slides in the middle. Oh, by the way, this threaded rod, you should buy a 4-footer. Because these 14-inch rings, it's like 13 inches. Yeah, you can see this is bent a little bit.
Jared, I have a 100-watt bulb for here.
Okay. Alright, that's my grandma. Got a 100-watt bulb for the outside light she wants me to change. Alright, anyway, you guys see the deal, alright? Piece of 1/2-inch copper. This is a 13-inch piece. You want to make it basically so it sticks in, you know, a nice 1/2 inch on each side, because it's a 1 inch thick. So, you know, you want a 1/2 inch of threaded rod sticking in. You could shorten that up a little bit if you want, but try to have a nice little bit of meat in there, because it makes it easier getting that nut driver and the nuts and washers on there. All right, if you leave that 13-inch pieces, buy a 4-footer, because a 3-footer is like just not enough. So buy a 4-foot piece of threaded rod. It's relatively cheap, man. I think all this stuff only cost me like 16 bucks. But the wicks, I forget what the wicks were. They were like $3.99 a piece or something, and then the rings were 10 bucks a piece. I already had these, you know. So, like I said, it's not that expensive. So, anyway, you cut your piece of copper. I already showed you that. You slide it on. You measure it. 13-inch piece. It's 7.5 or 6.5. And you get it as center as you can, and then you tighten your nuts and washers back up. I got that nice little black mark, so I know exactly where they were. Alright. And then this part too, when you tighten this up, you got to make sure, see how this piece of copper is going to move? You got to kind of try to hold it in the center. You don't want it to be off. You want it to be pretty close. To be in, you know, dead center as you can. Like, you'll pretty much be able to tell if it's crooked. Alright. And then little plier on this side, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Plier on this side. Crank that baby down a little bit. Crank it kind of tight. You don't want to kill it, but you want it to be nice and tight, where these nuts and lock washers are not going to come loose when you drop in front of an audience. That's the worst thing. I had seen a juggling magician, man. He had like wire wrapped around here and here, and then he had wire like with the wick like wrapped up like this, like in the middle of it. It looked terrible. And as he was juggling, dude, the wicks were falling off, and he was like trying to put them back on. I'm like, oh, that must have been embarrassing. And I was like, I'm going to figure something out, and this is what I came up with. So anyway, you start your piece of threaded rod, you measure it 13 inches, you take your hacksaw, you cut that baby. Nice and easy. You don't want to booger the thread, so you can thread these on nice and easy. So, and after you cut it, what you want to do is take one of the bolts and force it on right here. Force it on, make sure it goes on, take the little pliers and force it through. Make sure you can just thread it right on with your hand. Nice and easy, and thread it back off like 3 times. And then you'll be good to try to take the nut driver and just get it on there. That's, like I said, that's the hardest part. So, anyway, after you take your drill and you drill your big hole on the outside of the ring, all right? Remember we discussed measuring it, all right? And what I did was basically held this there, and then I measured and just kept it, you know, I just got it as straight in the center as possible, man. You just got to figure it out. There's no really way to measure it. There's nothing square or straight to measure off of. You got here and here and here and here. And that's what I did with the tape measure. I put the tape measure across when I tighten this up. And now I got my little black marks. But You guys will figure out how to, you got to get it center. So anyway, then if you drill your big holes, you take, what I did, I just took the Phillips head bit, I think, and just went like this. Of course, I made little pencil marks. So then you take the one piece of the threaded rod, put it on the hole, start threading it in. Now here's the trick. You thread it down further than you need to on the one side. This way, you could put on one of your washers, then your lock washer, okay, see that? Then your bolt, or your nut. Then, you know what? I missed a part. That's what I did wrong. See, I gotta put nuts and lock washers this way too. And they're still there on the table. I didn't put them on. So, anyway, once you have this piece, you thread on one, you put one washer on, then the lock washer, then your nut. 1/4 inch nut, 1/4 inch washer, 1/4 inch lock washer. The dude at the hardware store will pretty much know what you need. Again, other side, regular flat washer, lock washer, and I thread on a nut. Alright, then you take one end, start threading it into the little hole that you made on the inside of the ring, and it's going to thread all the way down right through, so you got to keep moving these nuts up. You want to thread it all the way back on one side. Baby's frozen up. Once I hit the black spot, it didn't want to thread no more. Right, so pop it all the way up through. That'll make it nice and easy for you to put. See, on the inside there, I think I just put a lock washer. Come here, buddy. Yeah, because the actual bigger washers, the flat ones, they didn't fit through the hole, and I don't want to make that hole any bigger than I have to, but it's got to be big enough for that nut driver. If you guys can figure out a way to get a nut and a washer through there with making a smaller hole, dude, let me know, because I'd love to figure it out. So anyway, I thread it on till there's just a little bit sticking through. Pull it down. All right. Look at that. I put it on wrong. Opposite way, so you got to pay attention to which way you're threading these on. I put the nut on the inside when the washer and the lock washer should be that way. I did it right on the other side. Alright, so you put the nut on first. Then the lock washer, then the flat washer. And we'll pop it through the small hole. Mine just pops through because it's worn. So you guys should be threading it through there. I'm doing this outside for better lighting, and it's kind of hot, so alright, that should be far enough. Pop it through there. On the inside, you really only got to put a lock washer. You don't have to get a flat one. If you can and it fits through, do it. All right. I mean, you can pretty much see what I'm doing here. I'm gotta keep playing with these nuts. Gotta keep playing with the nuts. Mine don't want to thread because there's dirt and soot in there. So I gotta keep threading this nut down until I can push it far enough. See how it's hitting there on me. So there we go. So I got it inside. You pop it into your other small hole. And like I said, try to thread it in. Don't try to pierce it, because it'll be tight. Oh, look, I did it the wrong way again on both sides. Lock washer, flat washer, threaded rod, threads through the small hole inside of the ring. Okay, now this is the part, once you get this one threaded all the way down, your nut should fit inside your nut driver. Alright, and then I just kind of place the lock washer on top, and then I go like this, and I look at the threaded rod. Alright, you might not get it the first time, or the second, or the third, but you get it. Then, now I'm tightening up here. I can see my black spots, so I know right where they are. Again, when you're doing this, you want to measure. You don't want to tighten these up when this piece of copper is like a ½ inch over here. You know what I mean? You want to play with that a little bit. Use the tape measurer to get it right on the money. Maybe take a T-square or just like a flat piece of wood, a piece of 2x4 that you lay across with 2 pencil marks on it, so you know exactly where, you know, where you're going to drill the hole and where this thing's going to go. You can put 2 pencil marks at the end of these, and it should be the same distance from here to here, and the same distance from here to here. Alright? Like I said, if you guys have any questions, you feel free to message me back. Hang on, I'm gonna let my dog in. Come on, Fred. Go on in. Alright. So now I'm holding the nut driver in there, and I'm threading the inside nut down. Tighten that baby up. Put my little pliers on there, and hold the nut driver at the same time. I tighten that nut lock washer both ways against the inside of that ring. And dude, let me tell you, it is rock solid. Alright. So, basically that's it, man. Tighten this side up. This is the one you already had in there. Stick the nut driver in. Tighten those babies up. Oh, hear it? Holding the nut driver and tightening both of them at the same time with the pliers and the nut driver. Nice and tight. And them lock washers, lock it on, man. So when you drop them, they don't come apart. The other set that I made, I did not buy those little lock washers. I just used the regular flat ones. And every time I dropped, jingle, 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 the whole thing came apart. So those lock washers are critical. So I hope that was enough for you guys to be able to figure it out. Give me some time to figure out how to post this, or I know I can't email a half-hour video. I'm going to have to try to get it up on Facebook for you guys. So I'll be in touch, all right? And thank you all again. I'm really happy that you guys were interested and that you messaged me. So add me, man. We'll keep in touch. Thanks again, guys. And be sure to send me some footage, dude, when you make them, all right? Later.